This episode of Your Money and Your Life is brought to you by our partner, Compare the Market.
Coming up on Your Money and Your Life, how to deal with financial stress in a relationship. Is the value of your home going to go up again in 2024? The winners and losers. Healthcare shares like CSL and ResMed have been battered. Are they a buy or not? And Kochie's Budget Challenge. I help Aussies save big time. G'day and welcome to Your Money and Your Life, the show that's all about saving, spending, investing and enjoying your money. Look, rising interest rates, rampant inflation and a slowing economy are stinging average Aussies. Frankly, it has never been harder to make ends meet. My mission is to make sure you make the very most of your money, that you're getting the very best deals on everything from home loans and insurance through to credit cards and petrol. But it's not just the money. Financial stress can have a devastating impact on relationships. Financial coach Betsy Westcott has some tips to make sure your relationship stays strong. Betsy, financial stress can be devastating on a relationship, can't it? It can be absolutely horrible. How do we deal with it?
Oh, it sure can, Kochie. And the best way to deal with it is to start with some self-awareness. We all have a money story, rules about how money works, who should be in control, what kind of decisions we make. So starting there with that really healthy self-awareness, some good quality communication around what is it that we want to do financially? What are our stresses? What are our goals and ambitions? And then getting really honest around what's our actual money situation. And I would say for 85% of my clients, that's not something that they have a good handle on.
So how do you get a handle on it?
Yeah, we got to know what's coming in and what's going out and what's causing the challenges for us. Is it a lack of income? Is it overspending? Is it we're just not renegotiating our bills and being, as savvy as we could be with our money?
Okay, so is that the third point? You've got self-awareness, paint an honest picture, and then take action.
Yes, you need to be your own action hero, if you will, and really make a plan. What is it that we need to do to get ourselves back on track and eliminate this financial stress? Because you can overcome it, but it's not going to happen if you just stick your head in the sand. You need a plan, you need to follow it, and you need regular check-ins.
Great advice, Betsy. Good to see you. Now, if you want more guidance in this area, Betsy and I have produced an online course on fighting financial stress. Go to kappa.tv to find out more. Now to Kochie's Budget Challenge. Every week, with the help of the team at Compare the Market, we're going to help average Aussies find better deals on their biggest bills and save them thousands of dollars and change their lives. Childhood sweethearts Alicia and Shane had to compromise on their dream home to get a foot into the mortgage market. Interest rates and cost of living expenses have hit their family budget to the point where they can barely cover their bills. Let's see if we can help. Alicia and Shane, thanks for having us. What a tough time it's been for so many Aussie families. How tough has it been for you to cope?
It's been really tough with interest rate rises and cost of living going up and, buying a new house. We've really had to look at everything we do as a whole to really get through it.
And Shane, it's not just dollars and cents, is it? Financial strain puts a strain on relationships as well.
Yep.
How tough has that been?
Oh, very tough. Just having to work more at work, overtime, less time with the kids, the family. It's just, it's pretty hard.
What have you had to give up to make ends meet?
I mean, we're very stringent on holidays. We try and plan one holiday a year. We don't go outside of that. We very much stick to really planning for that and saving for it. It's not something we can just do quickly. But definitely, entertainment always takes a hit when it's, that's one of the last things we think of.
The good things in life.
Yeah, the fun things.
The fun things in life, isn't it?
But also the serious things too, like the kids' activities. They might want to do more outside of school things, but we have to say no to some things and really assess how many things they're doing because it's just so costly.
What are your goals? what would you shoot for and put any savings towards?
Yeah, well, we are doing that at the moment.
Yeah.
We are really trying. We've got 3 little accounts set up and we have one that is just for renovations around the house. So we still have a lot of things we want to tick off our list to get our house where it needs to be. A holiday goal, you know, as we always try to have every year, because we need that to look forward to when we're working so hard as well.
Yep.
And the third one, our next house. We bought in a really crazy market 2 years ago when everything went up and we had a dream home in mind, and unfortunately we got priced out of the market. It was huge. We were going to open homes and there were 90 people there.
Wow.
And so we ended up having to downsize into something a little bit smaller to get into the market, and then eventually our goal would be to get a bigger home.
Look, hopefully we can help you get to those goals a bit quicker than you imagine. The Compare the Market gurus have gone through your big ticket items and I think you're going to be pretty happy. Let's go through that inside.
Great.
Coming up next, healthcare stocks had a shocking 2023, but are they the share market bargains for 2024? Expert advice is next. Welcome back to Your Money and Your Life. Let's try and help you make some money on the share market. And Australia's healthcare companies have been great investments over the years. But in 2023, their performance was terrible. So the big question is, can they bounce back in 2024? The man with the answers, Gaurav Sodhi from Intelligent Investor. Let's start with the big icon, CSL, the old Commonwealth Serum Laboratory. Everyone has loved it for years. 2023, a disaster for it. Got down to what, $230 a share.
Yeah.
Can it bounce back this year?
Hello, David. Thank you for having me on. Yes, you're quite right. CSL has been a darling for what must be more than 30 years now. But we need to be careful with these icon businesses. They become icons because there is an inherent high quality to the business. And you can just open the accounts, incredible profit metrics, incredible margins, returns on capital, very well managed over a long period of time, and a genuine competitive advantage when it comes to blood therapies. But when you look at the valuation of CSL, the multiple that it trades at has actually doubled over the last few years. I think CSL got too hot too fast, and what we're seeing now is a more normalisation of the PE ratio, the valuation.
Okay.
And I'm quite happy to hold it. We own it in the portfolio and I own it personally.
What about ResMed, the sleep apnea manufacturer? Yep. It was hit by Ozempic hysteria. Everyone's saying, well, the weight loss drug will mean everyone's going to get skinny and not snore anymore, and it's been battered.
I would simply point out that only a small percentage of users have to be impacted by the Ozempic drug for margins to be squeezed quite a lot. This is a company where it's incredibly hard to get new users to come onto trials. Yeah. More than 50% of the market is undiagnosed, and about 50% of clients, once they come on and use the masks, they actually drop off. So you've got to refill this bucket that's leaking every year.
Right.
And Ozempic I think it is a genuine threat to ResMed.
Okay.
But it is also a magnificent business that is now, for the first time in about a decade, properly cheap. So we actually added to our ResMed position.
And the final of the big three, Kochie, the bionic here.
Yes.
Wasn't really as affected as the other two in 2023. Growth prospects for Kochie?
It is probably the lowest growing of the three. Incredibly high quality business. Again, business metrics are amazing. The technology lead is impregnable. And because they have the most resources to throw at R&D, that lead actually is sustainable.
Right.
So wonderful quality business. I would again say that this multiple has expanded incredibly over the last few years. There's been a chase for high certainty, low risk growth stocks. And I think Kochie, more so than the other two, which have a few dents in the narrative, which we've discussed, that's been impacted by that. So I think Kochie is still quite expensive. We don't own Kochie. I'd actually be tempted to take some profits on Kochie. I don't think it's in the same league as CSL and ResMed in terms of price.
Terrific. Gaurav, good to see you.
Wonderful, thank you.
If you're interested in share investing, I host a daily show, The Call, on the Ausbiz streaming network, where I put 10 stocks suggested by viewers to an expert panel for their views on whether to buy, hold or sell. It's a lot of fun. Gaurav is one of our regular experts. Look, you can buy a lot with $18,000, a new car, a big trip, a year's school fees. But for the average Aussie homeowner right now, it's all about home loan repayments. The cash rate has climbed from historic lows to its highest peak in over a decade. Someone with an average loan of $610,000 who has seen their interest rate increase from 2.2% to 6.45% is now paying roughly $1,500 more in monthly repayments, or about $18,000 a year. So if you're struggling with repayments or just want to save, now is the time to look for a better rate. You could be paying for features that you aren't even using. A recent Compare the Market survey of 1,000 homeowners found that nearly half had never refinanced. For those rolling off fixed rates, there could be a difference of as much as 2% between their new rate and cheaper options in the market. Switching to a better deal could save you thousands. And you might be able to sweeten the deal with a cashback offer as well. Now, when every dollar counts, it pays to compare. For more, head to comparethemarket.com.au. After the break, in a year of rising interest rates and high inflation, your home has been your best investment. But will it continue to rise in value in 2024? The Boom and Bust report is next. Welcome back to Your Money and Your Life. Well, in 2023, the residential property market was sizzling hot. Most capital city property markets are back at record levels because of a shortage of new houses being built, combined with record migration levels. So your biggest asset has done pretty well. But can that continue this year? Louis Christopher from SQM Research has released his annual Boom and Bust report for 2024. Let me tell you, this has become the Bible of property forecasting. And Louis is with us now.
Oh, thank you for your kind words, Kochie. Good to be with you once again. Gee, I hope we get it right after that intro. Thank you.
Well, you're the only one to get it right in 2023. It was all doom and gloom. You said property would bounce back. 2024, different scenario. Now, your base rate is at the cash rate. RBA's cash rate stays between 4.1 and 5% in 2024.
Yep.
Population growth slows a bit to 460,000.
Yes.
Unemployment up to 4.5 to 5.5%.
Yep.
What will that do, first of all, to the big boom markets like Sydney and Melbourne?
We're forecasting modest to moderate falls of somewhere between 0 to -5%. And within those two markets, we're expecting outperformance within the top end of the market, where we still think there'll be plenty of cash buyers, as well as the unit market, which we've been noticing has been outperforming during downturns and underperforming during upturns in the housing market compared to freestanding houses.
So home units are the place to go.
They are.
In 2024 rather than houses.
If you're an investor, you want to get into the market, I think it's a safer bet in 2024 compared to over leveraging yourself in, say, a freestanding house.
Okay, what about the smaller capital cities? Will they hold up?
Depends on the city. So we're most positive on Perth and Brisbane. We believe in Perth, housing prices are likely to rise between 5 to 9%.
If migration continues strongly, above 500,000, will that save Sydney and Melbourne from going into downturn?
It'll still be a slowdown in 2024, but it'll mean that we might notch out a couple single-digit price rises, like, say, 2 to 3% gains, but definitely slower compared to 2023.
Okay, all right. Let's look at not the nightmare scenario, but sort of the economy going down the toilet scenario. Cash rates above 5%, unemployment above 6%, inflation goes back higher than 7% because of a crisis in the Middle East with an energy crisis.
Yeah.
How does that change things?
Our second most likely scenario, where what happens in the Middle East gets a little bit out of control and that scenario, you would see more distressed selling in the marketplace, far higher unemployment, and therefore housing prices will fall a little bit more aggressively.
Sydney and Melbourne down between 6 and 7% each, even Adelaide down, Hobart down.
Yeah.
Again, Brisbane and Perth just squeak into positive.
There would be few places to hide as a property investor, but I got to say in all this, we're not forecasting a crash.
Right.
And the reason why is because of this massive shortage of property. When you've looked at housing crashes across the world over time, one of the key ingredients has been an oversupply of real estate in those respective cycles. We certainly don't have that here in this country. We're actually going to build less in 2024 than what we did in 2023.
Louis, really appreciate your time. Thanks again.
Great to be with you once again.
Louis Christopher there from SQM Research. After the break, we look at how Alicia and Shane could save thousands of dollars on their biggest bills and afford that much-needed holiday. Back to Kochie's Budget Challenge. We've sent the major bills to the gurus at Compare the Market, who have searched for better deals and hopefully big savings. Let's see how they've done. So Shane and Alicia, a bit earlier, we heard about your goals and what you want to achieve in the future, went through how the budget's going. Let's now focus, if we can, on some of the big ticket items and whether we can make a difference. Now, I've got to say, these are just all thought starters. But first up, a home loan at 7.24%. Alicia and Shane, did you know you could get a home loan just over 6%? We all talk about the Reserve Bank putting up interest rates 0.25% of the time and think that's horrendous. You're paying 5 Reserve Bank interest rate increases, more than you should, per month.
My gosh.
And did you know you were so out of skew?
Not at all.
With the rest of it?
No. Well, we haven't ever looked at it.
As a rough guide, we reckon you could save about $5,200 a year off your mortgage repayments.
My gosh.
It's amazing.
That's huge.
And that's after-tax dollars as well.
Yeah.
And because you've undervalued your property here, when you go to refinance, your equity is going to be larger and you'll get a more attractive rate. And the Compare the Market guys reckon you could get under 6%.
Wow.
In that regard, 5.9 or a bit more. That's an amazing
That's
difference.
huge. That's amazing for what we try and save each week
huge.
for our goals, you
Yep.
know, our coming up goals. That's a massive hit for that.
Other big ticket item is health insurance. So complex, so individual. That's why it's important when you go through your policy to make sure it matches your needs. That when you've got a growing family, orthodontics is important. You probably don't need coverage for cataracts or hip replacements. That's more my age group that you've got to focus on. But when we look at yours, you're paying $189.60 a fortnight for your health insurance. A comparable policy is around $142 a fortnight. Over a year, it's $1,200, and that can make a big difference.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's a big change.
Huge, yeah.
The third area we've really focused on is car and home and contents insurance, because they're often big ticket items. Insurers use discounts and incentives to attract new customers all the time. Never automatically renew a car or home and contents insurance policy without going and comparing to see if you've got a better deal. Shane, you drive less than 10,000 kilometres a year.
Yep.
So that can often entitle you to a reduction in the premium because of low usage. On your car insurance premiums for your 2 cars, reckon we can save around that $200 mark a year, but home and contents, around $1,300, $1,300 a year, just by making a few tweaks to your cover and maybe have it switching to a different policy.
Yep.
So together, over $1,500 a year saving on the insurance premium, again, for car plus home and contents.
Amazing.
Wow, that's great, yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
In total, we reckon you can save on those three areas pretty close to $8,000 a year.
Wow.
It's a lot of money, isn't
huge.
it? How quickly will that get you to some of the goals that you've set yourselves?
So much quicker. You know, we're putting away as much as we can each week, but it's so minimal. So that's such a huge amount to just put into those huge goals we've got.
And I think the big barrier for a lot of people is this myth of thinking, it's so difficult. It's going to take ages to do it. Why should I do it? To actually work through all of these big ticket items and take advantage of the comparison websites to save almost $8,000 a year in savings, that's not a bad hourly rate to put some effort into doing it, is it?
Definitely.
Great.
Look, thank you for having it. Hopefully this has been helpful to you.
Amazing.
Oh, massive, yeah.
You're very typical of what Australians are going through at the moment, and every dollar counts, and it's absolutely worth putting the effort in to make the savings.
Yeah, it's amazing. Thank you so
Thank you very
much
much,
for
yeah.
looking at it and spending the time. Thank you.
Well, that's it from me for today. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Your Money and Your Life. For all the latest money and investment news that you need, go to ymyl.com.au, and while you're there, subscribe to my free newsletter, which is delivered to your inbox every Friday. See you next time. Next week on Your Money and Your Life, how to make the most of your superannuation, tips to supercharge your returns. The big four banks have been the darlings of share investors, but have they delivered? What you need to know to save big bucks on health insurance, and the verdict is in. Are young home buyers doing it tougher today than their parents who paid 17% interest?